Hey guys, welcome back to the Fool Show. Of course, I am Foolish Phil. Two things we're going to talk about here. One, Michigan basketball played tonight. They played the Youngstown State Penguins, and after a bit of a slow start of game where Michigan was just adding every couple minutes, every 4 minutes, they'd be like up another 3 points, another 4 points. Michigan ended up going on a nice 13-0 run at the end of the first half. They built the lead to 46-23, and Michigan just carried that momentum on and, ended up winning by a good old 30. So, a few things to take away from the game. I gotta say, I'm sure I'm gonna say it wrong, but Kamwa, if that's how you say his name, is looking pretty solid. He was perfect for the night. He had good old 17 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. Cheddar, I'm trying to think what Cheddar reminds me of. He just reminds me of like a player that you hate to play on another team. You know what I mean? Just that guy, like a Hauser for Michigan State for their basketball. Just a guy that is a hustle guy. He hits some big shots against you. Now, I'm not saying Cheddar's there yet, but it's just like Cheddar's going to be there for, 3-4 more years. Not 3 more years. But you know what I mean? Like 2 more years at least and such. So it's like he's just going to hopefully keep developing and become one of those basketball players that can be a solid piece on a team. He'll give effort. He gets some points. I mean, tonight, perfect from the field. And I love this. He has already hit more three-pointers this season in 2 games, through 2 games, than he had all of last year. He was like 5 of 20 last year. He has, I think, 6 now through 2 games. So, a little bit unorthodox his shooting form, but it goes in, so what does it matter? Doug had a really good game. Doug McDaniel, he's got to stay healthy. And, the rotation, getting things built up. The one lull where Michigan looked really blah. They had like 6 straight empty possessions was when Doug went to the bench with like under 8 minutes to go. And obviously 6 straight empty possessions. They didn't score, right? And he came back in, and then they, it took a possession or 2 and they scored after that. So, he's our point guard. But Michigan really needs to get Llewellyn back. I don't know when he's going to come back, but Michigan really needs Llewellyn back for some support. Because you have, I think, Burnett, that's him, would be playing the point guard too. And, he's more of a 2. So I know Llewellyn is more of a 2 when he got into Michigan, but he definitely can play point guard better than a 2 position. He played there last year. I know he got injured on the London game versus Kentucky, but still, you need another point guard to spell McDaniel. You got to have it so that your offense isn't just floundering without McDaniel on the floor. So that's something they obviously got to work on. He's got to, he's diminutive, so it's like you're worried if he's going to be able to survive, a full season without getting banged up and beat up and everything. It's almost a little bit like an Allen Iverson thing. Is he going to be one of those guys who's going to wear a sleeve with a pad on his elbow and everything because he hits the ground so much? Gotta say, T. Will, man, he's looking good for the first couple games here, and I know the way last season ended, the loss in the NIT on the road, I can't remember who it was offhand they lost to, but maybe Vanderbilt or something like that. But he just had a bad last couple minutes, and man, the social media was terrible to him. People saying how they wished he would just not be on the team anymore. And I'm honestly surprised he came back. It says a couple things. One, it says character, that he didn't want to just quit. He believed in what was happening at Michigan, if you will. He stayed to be with his teammates. The simple out is go transfer to a different program. He didn't. And you got to give him props for that. And so far through the games, he's looking good. He's looking, again, like a veteran-type leader. I love that he's hitting like those 18-foot jump shots. Really good. I mean, that's what you want him to do, and he'll get you some rebounds. I would put this at interesting. You could summarize the whole game in this one situation. Youngstown State, they had their 7'2" sophomore or freshman, I don't know what it was, but 7'2" center going against T-Will, and the guy probably has like 4, 5, 6 inches on T-Will, and the guy passed out. So 2 things in there. 1, Youngstown State wasn't very aggressive. 2, maybe T will play some good defense. So you can say a little bit of both. So a good win, obviously overmatched opponent in Youngstown State, but you don't know what you're going to get out of Michigan. So seeing Michigan blow a team out 2 games in a row is pretty nice. So we'll see. Monday, I think it is, they play St. John's. That's going to be a much tougher test. I like Martelli in the postgame. He was saying they got to communicate better because you know what? They're not going to be on the at home every game where you're going to be able to easily hear. You know, you're going to be on the road, and definitely St. John's is going to be a much different environment. Okay, the second story. Obviously, just quick look at MGO blog. Apparently, Michigan has filed for an injunction. They're waiting to hear back if it's approved. And I think it will be approved, but the slander by so many people in the media about how the Big Ten handled this, doing this on a Friday afternoon, on a holiday, when the team's already traveled to Penn State. The Big Ten's just taking a black eye about this. Just even if people are like, I'm not for Michigan or against Michigan, but just looking at the situation, it looks terrible how the Big Ten's handling this. And so I think it's just a huge mistake by the Big Ten. Again, whether you agree or not, Michigan should be punished with what's out there and fine, but I think the way the Big Ten's handling it now is just ludicrous. So it's great to see like Robert Griffin III saying it. You're seeing all other people just coming out and just saying this makes no sense, like Colin Cowherd, and they're just like shaking their head. They can't believe it. But will it make any difference? Probably not. But it's nice to see at least some people are siding with Michigan on this. Hopefully Michigan can use this as another motivational factor that, they can almost be, a rally cry to them, to the football team to play really well. I'm so pumped up for tomorrow. If you are on Twitter, all kinds of the football players were going the bet, like, fine. We don't care what you did. We're going to take it to you. That type of attitude, the FU attitude. So, I really hope Michigan plays great and blows them out, but that's why you play the games, man. Could this be a distraction for Michigan? Of course. But you got to have your leadership, JJ, Corum. You got to have Sanders still out there. You got to have Will Johnson. You got to be playing good. Chris Jenkins, Mason Graham. You got to have Benny. You got to have good defense all across the field. You got to have good offense. You got to execute well. You need Zinter, and you need, your Nugent. You need all those guys on the line to block well. You need Loveland and Barner from the Indiana tight end. You got to play well. And can they do it? Oh, I can't wait for the game tomorrow. I don't know how much I'm going to sleep tonight. I'm pretty jacked up. So glad it's a noon game, not a night game. I'm sick of night games, man. Give us a noon game. Whew. Okay. Boy, who knows what's going to happen. It seems like something comes out every couple minutes in this story. It's crazy. All right, so 2 stories in one. Michigan basketball, got a win. Great start to the season. Tough matchup on Monday. See how that goes. And, got to just keep going with football. I mean, is Harbaugh going to be on the sideline? I will be utterly shocked if the injunction is not granted. I assume they're going to go to a, Michigan-friendly judge who will just look at the timing of this and the lunacy of the timing, like they did it on a Friday afternoon. And that they would be like, no, you get an injunction because just smells like something bad, right? This is just not how you're supposed to do it. The Big Ten should be up front and do this out and open and all this, not try to sneak it in on a Friday afternoon after the team's already left for Penn State. Like, give me a break. Just what a bunch of terrible PR people you got there at the Big Ten, man. I don't know what they were thinking. Tangent. If you guys have any thoughts about the basketball game or Jim Harbaugh, the saga, how he's being punished, to punish him, I love their statement. They said that the Big Ten came out and said they're punishing Michigan by punishing Harbaugh. They said Jim Harbaugh has done nothing wrong, so we're punishing him as a representative of Michigan. What? I mean, if you take that same idea, I'm a citizen, of this community here. Hopefully I don't get punished for, someone else's actions. Hopefully I don't go to jail. or you have to go, for a couple days because someone else broke the rules. And that's what they're really doing, basically. I mean, you might say, well, Jim Harbaugh is responsible for his program. That's an NCAA bylaw. There's nothing about it in the Big Ten book, at least as far as I've read. I'm no lawyer. Don't get me wrong. I've just been reading what lawyers are saying on different topics. But there's no rule about the coach being responsible for his program like that the NCAA says. Man, the more I read about it, it sounds like the regents are like looking at going to a different conference, at least exploring going to the ACC, maybe the SEC. I heard like someone was responding that Alabama and some other SEC schools are, preparing to reach out to Michigan if it goes south, and I'm pretty sure this went south. So I could see Michigan going SEC, maybe go ACC. We don't need the Big Ten. Or here's an interesting thing. My brother asked, how would you guys feel if Michigan went independent and pulled a Notre Dame and just be independent? Which network would pay to have Michigan on? Right? That would be an interesting thing. Notre Dame gets to keep all their money. They don't share anything. I think, so it's like, well, what? CBS? NBC? Are you going to give some money to carry Michigan games? That'd be interesting. I don't know. Just an interesting thought. Would you be fine with Michigan going independent? Hey, I don't know. Hey guys, I know I ramble and sorry. Lots of things pop in my head. Thanks as always for watching. If you have any comments, put them in the box below. I'll try to respond as I'm able to. And until I see you tomorrow, maybe morning, but probably after the Penn State game. As always, go Blue! Big game tomorrow. Let's get it!